Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I don't know how much mileage I'm going to get out of this video. We're talking about how criminals, air quotes, hijacked the term computer hacker. So back in ye olden days, before any of us were alive, hacker was the term that was often applied, and I don't know if it was self-applied or it was something that was applied to them, but anyone that was proficient in basically computer usage. Later on, we would replace a computer hacker with the term computer nerd, or in some circles, computer geek. But originally, if you were proficient in computers, whether it was hardware or software or both, you were considered a hacker. And later, starting in the 90s, the term hacker was being misapplied to criminals who were using social engineering techniques and brute force computer cyber criminal techniques to basically steal whatever they could get their hands on. And this became known as hacking. And because hacking was done by hackers, the term hacker took on a negative connotation. And so then the people who had been up to that point referring to themselves as hackers had to either come up with a new moniker in the hacker lingo, which they tried to do. They tried to distinguish it between red hat, black hat, and white hat. The general public never got the memo, and so they either used the term hacker to apply to all criminals that were using computers, and anyone who called themselves a hacker was automatically assumed to be a criminal. Whether they were red hat or white hat, it didn't matter to the general public. So the computer hackers of the day, the white hat hackers and red hat hackers, had to adjust. And so they borrowed from another nickname that had been applied to them as a derogatory term, nerd or geek, depending on where they come from, which part of the country or whatever. And so they either became computer nerds or computer geeks. Now later, we just dropped the word computer from the front, and it just became nerds and geeks. But nerds and geeks are also into like science fiction and fantasy and trading cards and comic books and a whole bunch of other stuff and video games. So that became too broad of a term. So we went back to putting the word computer in front of specific computer nerds or computer geeks. Or we took another approach where it more or less became geek replaced the traditional hacker, and computer nerd, I don't know, was just like a proficient user, I guess, or someone who had an interest in computers. But if you could like build them yourself or take them apart or knew how they worked or could program them or code yourself, then you were classified as a geek, I guess. It gets complicated. More so because of the stupid fucking Geek Squad, which they can eat shit. Like I said, I didn't know how much mileage I was going to get out of this topic. But today, we do not use the term hacker anymore to refer to, unless you're an academic and you're using the term white hat or red hat, which are too convoluted and complicated and nuanced for my audience, I would assume. So I'm just going to leave it there. I studied it in college. I'm familiar with the various terms, but honestly, we don't use the terms hacker anymore. We just say geek or nerd or computer geek. I think that works better. Stay cool.